You had to hold your tongue a certain way, and just to call an Apache wasn't worth all that trouble. Tloka was handsome by any standards. He was young, his shoulder-length hair looked clean even when it was not, and his appearance was generally better than most Apaches. That was another reason for his name. He slept again for a short time, lying on his stomach on the bunk. A canvas-covered wooden frame and an army blanket, but better than the floor. He opened his eyes abruptly when he heard the footsteps, but did not move his face from the canvas. Through the bars, he saw two men in the hallway. One was fat and moved slowly because of it. He carried something covered over with a cloth. The other was a boy, he saw now, carrying the same thing, and he stayed behind the large man, moving hesitantly, as if afraid to be up here where the cells were. As they came to his cell, the Coyotero closed his eyes again. He heard the door being opened. There was whispering. Then a voice said, "Go on, he's asleep." Dandy Jim opened his eyes. The boy was setting a dish-towel-covered tray in the middle of the floor. As the boy stood up, he glanced at the Coyotero. Their faces were close, and the boy looked suddenly straight into the open black eyes that did not blink. "Harold!" The boy backed away. "What's the matter?" "He's awake." The boy was in the hallway now. "We let them do that," the fat one who was called Harold said, and locked the door again. They went to the other cell, and the boy took the tray while Harold unlocked the door. The boy went in quickly and put the tray on the floor, not looking at the two Mexicans who were lying on the bunks. The door slammed, and they were moving down the hall again. Dandy Jim could hear the boy whispering. Then going down the stairs, Harold was telling him something. The Coyotero sat up and ate the food, meat and bread. There was coffee, too, and after this he felt better. The throbbing in his head was a dull pain now, and less often would it shoot through to his eyes. The food removed the sour, day-old taste of tulapai from his mouth, and this he was more thankful for than the full feeling in his stomach. And now he was beginning to remember more of what had happened. He heard the cell door close again, this in his mind. It was dark, and he was lying on the floor, and now he remembered the men leaving, one of them carrying a lamp. They walked heavily, and the floor against his face shook with their walking. Then darkness and silence, and when he opened his eyes again, he was here. But before that, tulapai. No, before that. It came to him suddenly, and his mind was not ready for it. The shock of memory stiffened his body, then left him limp the next moment, and he groaned, closing his eyes tight to squeeze the picture of it from his mind. He saw her face clearly. She was on the ground, and he was astride her, holding her arms with his knees. Her eyes were open wide, but she did not scream, not until he drew the knife, and holding her head down by the hair, slashed off part of her nose. It was the fault of the tulapai, the corn beer he had been drinking as he rode home. But it was also his rage, the shock of seeing her with Susto. Across the stream, through the willow branches, seeing the two of them lying close to each other. He was halfway across the stream when they saw him. Susto ran for the brush thicket and disappeared. But Dandy Jim's wife ran to their jacal, as if she knew she would be caught, but should at least run at a time like this. And that was where he found her, and did what he had to do, what had been the customary act of a cheated Apache male longer than anyone could remember. A woman without a nose would not easily fall into adultery again. And now he remembered more of the things that had happened the evening before, sitting with his friends drinking tulapai, drinking too much while they told him what he had done was the right thing. Then the sudden warning that soldiers were approaching the rancheria. But it was hard to think, even then, with the tulapai, and they made noise, fleeing on their ponies. Their minds would not calm long enough to think out their escape and do it properly, so they just ran. And all the time, for hours, the soldiers were never more than a mile behind.